a table with a column called DPT name so that I can talk about something related to DPT. Okay, so now we have the table. The IDs have become now, or you can also join and get that. I simply deleted rather. So what we are trying to do is we want to display the employee details from this table, what we created, TAP employee, whose department is same as employee. Okay, who are the people? For example, Monty is from HR and Deepa is from also HR. And who else is matching? I need to have one more alternative, but let's take this example for now. We have Monty and Deepa who's having a same department. If you want to achieve this kind of solve this kind of query, what you can do is you can simply use select star from, or as you are looking for a department. So let's say a department name from the table without X and Y, because we are not sure who are the people, right? What you are looking for is a department, that's fine. For which table, it's still fine, but without X and Y, that is which, who are the people, I don't know. Okay, in this kind of situation, how you are going to find it? So let's try to build the query itself directly. Select star from this table, select star from this table, then where DEPT, DEPT name. Are we using the right table? So table EMP, now we have DEPT name. Is it? Okay, where DPT equals to, if I say where DPT equals to IT, I should be getting IT. Okay, do we have IT? Yes. Okay, so this is how in a simple manner we are going to write, but here the question is little different. So understanding the question itself takes a lot of time. Sometimes writing query will be very easy if you understand the question. Display the employees. What I want to do is I want to display the employees. So let me again put this. You want to display the employee names, okay, who are sharing the same department name. Okay, and who are those? I don't have any clue. If I know Monty and Deepa, if I know Srinivas, I can put simply in the where condition where employee name equal to Srinivas. Along with Srinivas, only Srinivas information you are going to get. If I am really particular about HR department, if I say select star from table where department equal to HR, I'll get the HR related, how many people are working and similar employees. But here the I don't have any clue. Actually, I don't have any clue who are the people. If I know, I would have put in a where condition. But now how we are going to resolve this question? Okay, now where department name equals to, then we are going to use a select query here. So what is a select query here? Simply use select DPT name. I am not getting DPT name. DPT name, okay, from table where name equal to X and name equal to Y. This is what the employee names which you are intended to give. So if I try to run by using this query, what happens is here we are trying to give the name specification through which you are going to get the results. And we also have the department name which you already written. So I don't want to mention the department because I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure here. So if you try to run this kind of query where specifying the name equal to X and name equal to Y, probably you are going to get the result because you are very clear which names you are looking for. But as we are trying to use a subquery, okay, as we are trying to use a subquery, we have two choices here. One is non-correlated and one is correlated. Correlated always gives whenever you want to work with correlated. Okay, before that there is one more simple single line row. That is what we are trying to work so far. But now it's a time to use multiple row because we are trying to find multiple rows. Maybe you'll get for the HR like 4 or 5 people. So that means you are trying to get multiple values. Then we need to use a multi-row command here. So how we are going to use that? Nothing, but we are not going to mention anywhere. Rather, we are going to mm, put the information. So if I try to put the name like Monty here, for example, and the name equal to who else? It's Deepa. Okay, this is what exactly you are looking for. When I run this, you are not going to get the result Okay, table. It's not a table. What is that table name? Table DB table. Yeah. What happened? Okay. So the problem here is like when you're trying to use this command, it will work fine if you have a single value like this. Okay. Let me comment it out. You'll get the exactly what you're looking for if you're familiar with what name you're looking for, because I know Monty related that who is the other employees working in the same department, I could able to see. The problem is here, when I try to put the two names, it is not accepting. Okay. The reason is we are using we are trying to get a multi-row combination. In that case, we are not supposed to use equals to operator here. Okay. Whenever you're not supposed to use operator that is called as equals to operator. So what exactly we are supposed to use is the in operator. So we know that whenever you want to get multiple rows information, we are supposed to use the in. So when I say in, okay. So hold on. Select star from table where department in, okay, and select department name from this table where name equal to this and this. When I am using in operator, what happens? So okay, so that means where name equal to, we are not supposed to use again equals to operator, as we are getting from two different multi-user. So I'm supposed to use in operator here. So in this case, will it give the results? No. Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is how you are going to use the in operator rather than using a equals to operator here. And you want to find who are the people who are sharing with the same department name. Okay. So the combination, we don't have any other people who are having a same HR, finance, sales. No. So this is a multi-row combination, guys. So basically the correlated subquery which I was referring, it works differently. That is working opposite. So what we have seen so far, that is using a combination of this is what the correlated subquery, and this is your non-correlated. So non-correlated always try to give a single value, whereas this is correlated and this is, sorry, this is a non-correlated, what you're trying to work on the first instance, and this is a correlated. All right, so let's talk about now stored procedures. Let me write some notes here. So stored procedures basically, uh, it's a combination of multiple select queries which you are going to put in a single block. That is a stored procedure. Okay, it's a procedure which is going to run based on the scheduler. Okay, based on the business requirement. If it is supposed to be run twice in a day, it will run. If it is supposed to be run only once in a day, it will run. If it is supposed to be run on a weekly basis, it will run. Otherwise, it will be a monthly. It completely depends upon the kind of a project which you're picking up. And what, as a SQL developer, you're going to do is all this logic. So whatever you learned, whether it's a subquery, whether it's a join, whether it's a order by, group by, all these combinations and functions which you are going to use within the stored procedure and create the final project. And once this is passed through the EAT, it will be moved to the production where it will be scheduled to run on a particular time, whether it's UK time, US time. Based on those timings, it will be put into a scheduler. So a stored procedure is a SQL code. In simple words, it is a SQL code. Okay, you can save, so the code can be reused over and over again. Now, what is the problem with me when I'm running this query? I'm running this, I'm seeing the result. But is this query saved anywhere? Not really. If you try observe closely, so far whatever we are running, if these queries are not saved anywhere, probably I'm trying to save on my desktop, which is not the right way of saving your queries. Okay, that's not the right way of queries, because whatever the project you develop, you want to rerun again and again, over and over again, because that is all about your project, right? So you want to run, it's not a one-time exercise, you want it to be run for several times. So what this is it is a SQL code, piece of SQL code, what you're trying to save, so that it can be reused over and over again. I'll write it only once. I'll be keep using that stored procedure, whatever the procedure which I'm going to build, will use again and again. Okay, so what exactly it is? It is a simply a block of statements. Okay, we can simply say it's a block of statements. What statements? Or you can say, let's say, queries. Okay, the next one, to perform some operations on the given logic. That is what I'm talking about. Okay, basically the stored procedure why we create, because you want to perform on some operations, very complex logics which you have built, and when you run it you are getting the result, but unfortunately you are not able to save anywhere. It's not on desktop all the time you'll save it, or in the shade tray. Rather, it should be stored within your server environment, so that that can be picked up by the DB and can kept for the scheduler. So that means to perform some operations on the given logic. What are the logics you are uh, trying to prepare? And basically, whenever I'm trying to run this single line of code, what happens is every time this query is being sent to the server to check all those parameters. We know what are the parameters. First, it will try to check whether this table name is existing. Second, it will check whether this guy is having the access to this table or not. Later, it will check the whole syntax, and this query will be sent and compiled. Then you are going to see the result. So you are just writing and running, but behind the scenes, a lot of things happening, right? The query has been sent, and table name is checked. Later, access is there or not, they will check. Who's checking? The server, right? Everything's checked, then everything is fine, then the result is displayed. But what happens when I create a query? The magic of writing query procedures, what happens is when you run for the first time the procedure, it is compiled. That means when you run this for the second time, it's not going to be run through the server. It is compiled, already compiled. So when you're running second time, it will not take much time. The first time, it will check the spelling mistakes, it will check the database names, it will check the column names, everything it will check for the first time, and it will be compiled at the server. Second time when you are running, it will not compile, it will run directly, because this is a proven procedure. It is a proven procedure and working procedure, until unless when you alter it. Alter is nothing but you're trying to do some modifications. Obviously it has to go through again the procedure of checking the spellings, checking the database name, checking the access. It has to check everything right from the beginning. So this is what it is. I can say it's a simply pre-compiled. Okay, let's say pre-compiled block. So that means once you run for the first time, it will does everything. Second time, it will not check. It will keep running forever. Okay. Now, once when you, the one more advantage is whatever the applications which you are trying to use, the performance will be increased like anything. Okay, of course, depends upon the query what you have written. The application performance will increase because you are not compiling every time. You are not checking for all the mistakes. It will just run like that because it's already proven in the UAT and it has been scheduled, right? So application performance will be increased like anything. You're not giving a stress to the server. It will run just like that. So the basic advantage, what I really like about the stored procedures is stored procedures basically blocks of statements, what you have written, okay, can be used by any applications okay, like we have a something called .NET. Okay, if you assume that like there is an application built in .NET, okay, that one. And if you think there is an application developed in C, or there is a C++ application, or maybe Java, or and Python, okay, if you have any applications which are designed and developed by using these applications, What happens is whenever they want to connect to the SQLs, they will take the help of stored procedures. So these stored procedures blocks can be used by any applications. Any applications. That's the power of the stored procedure. They will not access your select queries. They will just talk about the stored procedure, because the way you created the view has a name. So they will try to take the reference of that name. Here I'm talking about stored procedure. So they will take the reference of the stored procedure name, and they will try to execute what is there in your database. Maybe you want to run the query, or when you want to run the application through the help of a Python. So through the Python, you are going to connect to the SQL, and you are going to execute that procedure what is already been designed and developed by the SQL developer. So the last line is really important, that any applications like C, C++, Java, and Python, whatever the application you've been designed, these application can further use this stored procedure what you have created by using any relational database environment. Might be MySQL, might be a SQL, whatever. It doesn't matter, because it's all matters is the procedures what you have written, which is having the complete logic is built. Now, let's try to see a very simple example in action to understand how to create the store procedure itself, so that we can go further. Okay, so we have a table here already. So let me run this. This is the table what we have. Now you want to create a procedure. You want to create a procedure to run the query. This query which you keep using all the time, this query, assume that this query I'm using all the time I'm running, but this query is, when I'm running it, I got the results fine. When I close this session, this query is no more available. When I want to run it again, I need to rewrite this entire query, but no more writing again, because we are learning stored procedure. When you write something, these queries into the stored procedure, those will be saved in the server. So whenever you open, you can keep running it. So let's see how to create the procedure. So create is the command which you will use for sure to create any objects, create table, create procedure, create views, create database. So create procedures. Let me write procedures. This is, you can write create procedure. That is the one way, or you can simply avoid writing the whole thing and you can say simply create proc. Okay, we can say, you can simply say create proc. Both are same here. So either you can use proc as a short form, or you can use procedure. Okay, now I understood. Now create procedure can be used like proc or procedure. Now you need to give the procedure name. So I want to give a prefix. As I said, try to make a habit of using a prefix words, because tomorrow when you are trying to find the same names, but if you want to identify that object with a different convention, so we need to use procedure name. So let's try to use SP as a stored procedure, TBL as a table name, V as a stands in a view. So stored procedure as employee. So this employee is being repeated in my server many times, no matter, because it is being given a different prefix called SP, which is nothing but a stored procedure. Now, the skeleton of this procedure, how it looks like is only uh, few commands. That is, first it will start with create and ends with end. In between that, we have something called as, which we have seen with the uh, views, and there is a very important line says, but there's always an option, even if you don't use it, it should work. There is something called as, then begin. Why begin? In this begin, we are going to write your block of statement. Okay, so this is a complete skeleton and my procedure is ready. Okay, and my procedure is completely ready. So this is how I'm going to create a procedure. But the thing is, what is a block of statement here? What is block of statement is all about? Block of statement is all about your logic, what you want to do. For my example, what I'm doing is I want to select star from this table. Let me see what are the columns. Okay, here I want to run all the time, select, okay, name, salary, and DEPT name from the table called TBLEEMP. Yeah. So let's try to run. Always, whenever you're creating a store procedures or views, always ensure that you're running this. Is it working? Yes, perfectly. So pick up that and put it in the body. In the body, whatever you're writing, okay, on the empty canvas, always try to ensure they are working. Otherwise, you written something and you're running this, and second time you cannot run this because it's already created. Okay. So first, when you're sure this query is working, now run this. Now, once you run this, you'll see that it's just like a view. It is trying to, or table or database is just telling you the command is successfully ran. But you must be wondering why I've written a simple query in the procedure. Because think about it. I want to write this, run this query again and again, and I don't not supposed to save it on my desktop on the shared drive. And tomorrow morning again, if I want to run again, I need to write this literally. So now there's no need to write anything because we have that query which is saved somewhere else. Let's see where is that stored. Now we have a tables. Tables is nowhere related because tables can store only tables. We have something called views which can store only views here. Now my view name is procedure name is sp underscore. So let me go for program. Here we have something called stored procedure. So when I click on stored procedures, you should be finding your procedure name. But can I say something like select star from procedure the way I've done for the procedure? Let me see. Okay, no. It is not taking into consideration either as a table because this is not a table. We created a procedure. So if you want to run, because you want to see the results of this procedure, if you want to run this procedure, there are two ways, multiple ways. So either you can go for a graphical way of running this, graphical in the sense, as you know, just right click on that and click on run. When you click here and when you click on this modify, okay, this procedure will run straight away. But let's not go for the graphical because you will not find this kind of facility in other relational database management systems. So if I want to run and execute, and what I mean to say is execution procedure. Okay, any procedure which is built, again, the same problem here, guys. When I try to run this again, it will say that this is already existing. Can you create a new name? Of course, I need to give a different name by just giving some additional information so that it will create another name. Now, the thing is, when this procedure is already created and stored in my server already, when I close this session also tomorrow, when I log in back, when I want to run this procedure, what I'll do is I'll not be using a select star unlike the table or the view. The process is little different. We are going to use execute. We are going to use execute statement because we want to run the query, run the procedure. Oof. Okay, execute is the command line which we are going to use in order to execute your procedures. Okay, you are executing what you're executing, you are executing your procedure. So let me run this now. When you run this, your procedure will execute. That means no more using select star from table. You have a procedure already built in. Whenever you run that, whatever the logic we have built within this procedure, that will run. So either you can use execute procedure or else you can use the graphical user interface. Don't use that. Or you can use or else you can use exec as a short form in order to see uh, the procedure executing. And again, to the way we have tried to view the view, right? So what is the command line we use? Select, yeah, this one. This is how we are going to view the view which is stored in a single query. But if you try to run the same for the procedure, what happens? Let's try to see for the procedure. Will it give me the information? What is this procedure all is about? So when I try to run procedure, it is telling me it is saved as a query. So instead of you saving somewhere, the query is being saved in the server itself now. And whenever you want to run, whenever you want to do modifications also you can do, like for example, select star from table where you want to give us some department name equal to IT, then you want to order by, you want to for a group by, you want to use some multiples what do you call functions you want to use. You use whatever the knowledge you have entirely in the body of the statement and then create it, and this is how you keep executing it. And when you want to view, okay, you already know where it is written. So whenever you want to view, when you can view, select star, then just copy it and paste it. Now your procedure is ready, what you have created. Okay, as a begin, then this is your block of statement what you have written. So this is the first procedure what you have created. But anytime if you want to order, okay, uh, uh, maybe you want to just change this entire procedure to order by or group by, or you want to use some kind of a stuff here. So basically when you're changing the procedure, what I mean is when you're using certain other conditions, maybe you want to say dpt name equal to something called hr. Okay, you want to get only hr information. When you run this individually, yes, it's working. But when you run the procedure is no more identified, because you're running it again. It is created, right? It's already created and it's not identifying. So what you can do is you can simply use alter. So whenever you alter, that means you are changing the procedure. So when you, after changing the procedure, if you run it, what happens? You're not changing the name of the procedure, you're just changing the contents of the procedure. You can still execute it. You can still execute it. Now this execute command understood. Okay, this execute command, what it is doing, it is trying to search for this procedure in the entire server environment, and it is trying to read line by line and trying to read the execution process. And it also find the new command line what you used, that is a where department name equal to hr, and it's understood and it's giving the right result here. That's it. That is how you can alter and drop if you want to drop. So let me not drop this. Let me create a one more and drop it so that we can use this as an example. Here I want to say create procedure one. I'm trying to run this now. Is it working? Yes, it is working and it is created. So let's see if it is created. So just say refresh. Now if you go to the your database, and under that program, under that if you go, there is an employee one. Either you can delete from here, as you know, from graphical you can do a lot of things, rename, delete. But I don't want to delete from there. I want to drop. Okay, employees one. That's it. You'll get into errors when you run this because it's not understanding what you're trying to drop. Is it a table? Is it a database? It is a view, or it is a procedure. It doesn't know what it means. So let's say proc or procedure, it will understand. Then now your procedure is dropped. So when you try to refresh, you will, just like the tables and database what you have seen, you will find that this procedure is no more existing now, this employee one. So now you know how to alter, how to drop it whenever you want to do it. So let's try to take one more examples, which I need almost like 20 or 30 minutes to expand this into more granular level to understand this concept. All right, so far we have seen how to create a stored procedure, and the logic is completely what is business ask, right? So in this stored procedure, there are two types of parameters we can provide. Now, stored procedures take parameters. So, what does it mean? Parameters. If you go to just Excel, once you open VLOOKUP, okay, what happens is when I open parentheses, it is going to ask me a few questions. Can you give me what is the lookup value? Okay, then can you give me the range? Can you give me the color index? Then true or false. So what I'm trying to do here actually, whether it's a VLOOKUP or whether whatever the formula you use, we are trying to pass certain parameters in order to complete this VLOOKUP process and in order to see the final result. Even in the procedures, we can give parameters. That means while executing, we can give certain parameters, and based on that, you can derive the information. Let's see how to pass the parameters in terms of a stored procedures. Okay, in the in the in this parameters we have two types here. Okay, one is that in parameter, in, the second one is out. So the word itself is getting in parameters in the sense something which is going to take accept it, and out is something which is going to give the result to you. So in parameter is also simply let's say input parameter, and this output parameter. So if you look at the syntax, you'll understand what exactly way to give the parameter procedure. So for that, I need to go for the same procedure, create proc. Okay, or you can use alter, because if you want to alter, then here we are going to use the procedure name, of course, p name, nothing but the procedure name. Here we are going to open the parenthesis. Okay, this is what we have not seen so far. So here I'm going to use as, then I'm going to use begin, then I'm going to use the end. This is my complete structure. But now I use something additional lines, that is nothing but your open and closing parenthesis. So what is that open and closing parenthesis which I used here means a function which I'm going to create my own parameter here within these brackets. So whatever the name which I'm going to suggest here, that will be become my parameter. Somebody has already designed a VLOOKUP, okay, and he asked four parameters. Those four parameters, when they created the procedure, might be they've defined it. So that's why we are able to see in the tooltip box, right? In the tooltip box, whenever you open VLOOKUP, it will show you the yellow color ribbon one tooltip box. So here what I'm going to say is, first we need to use a key, a special character called @ and mention the parameter name and it's a data type, no data type, what data type it is. Then again, we are going to use, if you have one more parameter, then again use @ and we need going to use the parameter name and the data type. Okay, so this is how we are going to pass a parameters. First, try to understand passing the parameters. We'll talk about what is in and out later. So this is how I just given one kind of a parameter here, and I'm specifying what its name, that is parameter name, and I'm going to use what is the data type it is. And again, if you have one more, likewise, you can create as many as you want the way you create for the tables. So once this is done, so basically, let's take an example so that you can understand how to give the parameters here. Okay. So as per my table is concerned, let's look at the table first before we jump onto this example. This is your table. Let me copy this and put it here and see what we have here, so that we can make out if it is a right example for us. So we have employee ID, name, salary, gender, and department name. Now I want to pass a parameter here saying that uh, while executing, if I say male, I should get all the male employees as a result. If I, while executing my procedure, if I say female, I should get all the female employees in my list. So that means while executing the procedure itself, we are going to pass a parameter so that you can see the result. I repeat, the way, just look at the VLOOKUP. We are passing all the parameters to get the VLOOKUP result. The same way, when you are executing the procedure, we need to pass all those values which you are looking for. If you say female, all the female employees will come up. Male employees will come up. So that's a kind of environment if you want to create. So first you say create proc and give the procedure name. So let's say SP, always don't forget, because it's a prefix, right? Tables TBL. So in the same way procedure. So let's say get EMP details, something like. So here I want to pass the parameter. Okay, so for that, first thing what I'm doing is I'm using @, I'm using gender. Okay, you can use anything for that matter. I'm just using gender here. Gender, then use a varchar, being it's a varchar data type. And what is the size of it? Obviously, it's being a text, we need to provide the size of it. Then after that, I want to provide even the department DPT ID. We don't have in this, right? So let's avoid DPT or EMP ID, maybe EMP ID as int, because it's a int data type. Then use a keyword. This is how the parameters followed. Then I'm using the as keyword. Then I'm using the begin. Then I'm using the end. That's set. This is my parameters, providing the parameters for your procedure. So within this begin and end, what you're going to do, we are going to provide the complete block of statement, what you want to do. So in order to write a query, how you're going to write, like select star from table, where gender equal to female or male, or employee ID equal to this. So when you want to write this statement, how you write in a normal scenario, you will write select star from, okay, from table. What is the table name? Is TBLEMP. This is the table AMP. Then where, what you're gonna use gender. We have a gender column here. Okay, gender equal to, if I say only females, okay, female, and EMP ID equal to 1. This is what, in a simple scenario, this my query will results. Give me the results. Okay, we don't have. Let me run this. So these are only a female employees what we have now. Let me remove EMP ID because it will show only that related information. So I'm just passing one. You can pass as many as you want. it should be a perfect example. So when I'm running this, when you're running this, you are getting all the female employees. Now, this query I want to run as many as times, but not all the time I want to see the female employee information. I want to see male. So for that, what I'm going to do is I passed a variable, okay, parameter here at the rate gender. So why don't you copy that gender value instead of a female, so that, as you know now, whenever I run this, I always get a female employees only, but I don't want to get female employees. Maybe sometimes I want to see male information. Sometimes I want to see female employee. So equals to, instead of using, let me put this like this. I'll copy this so that you can understand what I'm trying to replace. Here, equal to gender at the rate gender. Now try to understand this long. Those who are from non-programming, they will little confused, but it's quite easy. So first I use at the rate gender, and you know how to create a column the same way you're created, but the only difference is we used at the rate symbol here. Whenever you're passing a parameters, we need to give the at the rate symbol. This is going to hold a value, just like we look up index value, just like we look up the lookup value. This is what the first parameter I've given. So that parameter I'm referring here. Okay. And if you have something other parameters, what you're going to say, if department ID or EMP ID equal to at the rate EMP ID, if you might have declared a variable here, just in case. I'm not declaring because employee ID, I'm getting only few information. So int, that's how you are going to close. But here I'm not using EMP, only gender. So this is how the gender is going to be. Now, what does it mean actually? So whenever I'm executing a procedure, we need to ensure that the procedure is going to give the result what you require. So I used a select star here. So that means I need to get complete information. That's what I mean. So now that now that we have created the procedure, now let's try to see if it is running. Okay, let's try to run as keyword. What happened? Oh yeah, I used a separator here because whenever you have a multiple things, we need to use a separator, right? So I'm not using the not supposed to use a separator there. So when I run when I run this, the very first thing you need to check is where is my procedure is sitting? Is it in the right database or not? Let me refresh and go to the programs and go to the store procedures. And you can see there is a procedure sitting here that is SP get EMP details. Fine, fantastic. So my procedure is ready now. How to run this? Can I run like this? We fail to run this when we are trying to see my procedure name is this, my procedure name is this. When I run this, that's it. You will get an error because this is not a table. This is not a view. This is a procedure. To run the procedure, we have a procedure called exec or execute completely. So when I run this, okay, what I'm going to get? Okay, again, there is a problem. It is not allowing me to run. But if you see previous procedure, it was running straight away without asking any questions, right? Where is that procedure? Yeah, this one. When I'm running this, it's not throwing an error. It's giving the result. But this time when I'm running, it is not accepting. The reason is it is telling if you want to run this procedure, let me put this as error. If you want to run this one, you need, if you want to run this, we need what? Let's try to read the errors so that we can understand this. Procedure or function, this one, expecting something from you that is at the rate gender, which is what not supplied. That means VLOOKUP function, okay, VLOOKUP function is incomplete without the parameters. What is that? First one is lookup value, then try to use a range, then index, then true or false, and need to pass the parameter. The same way as you created a variable for the parameter for the gender, you need to mention what gender you are looking for. Is it a female or male? Female. Then try to execute this procedure now. Now, what is happening? Is it a female all the time I want to see? No, I want to see sometimes a male information. No problem. So here we are, by passing a parameter, what we are trying to do is we are making your procedure to become dynamic all the time. It is not static. If you look at the very first example, what you have taken as a basic one, it is static all the time. It will get what you want, or not what you want. It will always run select star from the table only. But this is little dynamic, right? So whenever you want to see the female information, you can pass a parameter. This is without parameters, right? Now Once again, this is with parameter. So that means just give a space. If you're running directly, you'll get an error. So give a space. What is the first parameter? That is female. Now, when you run that, you are getting female. This is with parameter. This is with parameter. This time not interested in female, go for a male and select it. So whatever you are passing there, that's it. So what if tomorrow you have taken the same example for department? Let's try to recreate everything for the department now. I'm selecting this one. I'm recreating for the department. This time it's not gender. Okay, it's not gender. Okay, let's try to create two parameters now. We have this and we have a DPT also. That means at the rate DPT. Let's try to extend this DPT. Let's say name as varchar maybe 20. That's it. So we need a comma separator. As you know, when you're creating table also we require for each parameter. So for the last one, it's not required. Now select start from table where gender equal to gender and department name equals to at the rate what? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know even the gender. So at the rate gender. I don't know what is the department. No problem. Just give this at the rate gender. Now you created altogether new one. So underscore one because it's a new procedure altogether. So when you run this, what happens is it will create one more procedure for you and this procedure of course existing. Now let's try to execute this. I'll execute this procedure now. When I'm trying to execute this procedure, again, I'm getting into errors. The reason is we are not passing all those parameters which are really required here. So what is the first parameter? The first parameter is whether it's a male or female. Okay, let's say male. When I run this, again error because you're not giving the second parameters. What is the department you're looking for? The second department is, let's say, HR. So you want to see all those employees who are HRs and who are males. So that means I'm passing two parameters now because that's how my procedure is built. Likewise, think about this. What parameters through which you want to derive the information? Now let's try to build the same procedure to extend more. I want to give for that, I need to see how the table once again. So let's try to run this. Do you have the combination one and the male and HR? Yes, we have. So let's try to build again the procedure. This time I'm going to say two. I also wants to add at the rate maybe gender salary. Okay, you can also take the salary, but I'm taking EMP ID and as an int. So that means the second one should have this comma separator there. And here, not only this, and we need EMP ID equal to at the rate EMP ID. That's it. Whatever you take, you need to add there. So now when I'm running this, I got successfully result. Now mail HR, I want for the employee ID like one. So will I get the information? If you have the right combination, yes, we can. Sorry, this employee name is two, right? So this is not one, this is two. This is two. So that means mail is satisfying, HR is satisfying, one is also satisfying. So that's how we can see. Actually, we are not supposed to use the employee, but that's a unique one. So try to use some other parameters through which we can see. Now we have seen how to extend a parameter from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 100 also you can increase. It's only depends upon the kind of logic you are trying to build for your organization.